Welcome to It's All About the Questions, where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Stewart.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show. This is Laura, your one-armed radio host today. I had orthopedic surgery on my rotator cuff last Thursday. Thank you, Dr. Husami, for doing such amazing surgery. My physical therapists have said, you're doing amazingly, but I'm still shocked at how hard it is to lift my arm in certain positions. You just kind of feel like it's an alien attached to your arm. Today we have one of the people I so highly respect, and she is calling in from Singapore today. So everybody pay attention to this. We have a guest today calling in from Singapore to talk to us, and she's been really helpful for me, especially with everything I've been going through, caregiving for my mom, trying to balance everything through my divorce. What do I want to do? How can I do the things I want to do? And then even with this surgery, because I had to stop doing things that I felt I needed to do because I wasn't going to be capable of it while I was healing, and had to ask for help and things like that. So today our guest is Cheryl Chng. She is the CEO of LifeWorks in Singapore, and she also does work in the United States and in London. She is the creator of the 24-Hour Woman, where she focuses on women's personal development and leadership. She is an award-winning coach and an international best-selling author for her book, The 24-Hour Woman. Must read. Everybody must get this book. It is so amazing. We're going to talk about a bunch of different concepts from the book today. She's worked with more than 5,000 women professionals and entrepreneurs globally, helping them to thrive in their work and business and live, get this, a vibrant, happy, and fulfilled life. It is so amazing what you can do if you just apply one or two of the amazing strategies that Cheryl's going to talk to us about today. So you want to find out more, you can always get more from Cheryl at the24hourwoman.com, and that's the numbers 24 for the 24hourwoman.com. So Cheryl, you are calling in from Singapore, and it is like close to midnight there. It's like 11 p.m. for you?
Yes, you're absolutely right, Laura. Calling in from Singapore is 11:07, but what a great day it is still to be a 24-hour woman.
Yeah, I mean, you're literally right now, this moment, living the 24-hour woman. Your day hasn't stopped yet. You've been up since very early this morning with your family. Yes, but I suppose that many of the concepts that I wrote in the book and I'm teaching right now, I lived through them. My kids and my husband, we have experimented with so many things, and it's proven to work, and I am truly happy with what I'm doing right now. And you're also in a multi-generational environment, not like mine where my mom lives with me and I'm her sole caregiver, but you have your family right near you and you're responsible for them as well. So you literally are living every single thing that you've talked about.
Well, yeah, my own grandmother just passed away, but if she was still alive, we would have 4 generations living within walking distance of one another.
That's so amazing. Can you tell us, because I know you, but my audience doesn't, share some of your background and how you got to where you are today, where you're able to help women of all ages really navigate versus balance, because I think that's such a huge difference, and you're the first person that ever used that word. So tell us how you got to where you are.
Well, I started work upon graduation, and I found myself blessed with an environment where I had a female managing director in a Japanese firm that's a very male-dominated firm, and I thought, what a great place to start with a firm with female leadership. I joined the firm, and I learned lots, as a fresh person into the workplace, but I also realized that there are things that I need to learn in terms of how do I manage my career proactively. So that's my first learning in terms of my work experience. From there, I learned some of the skills that is needed in terms of managing your career, and I learned very early in my career that that's something I need to do. I took a leap of faith. I joined another industry altogether, and again, I learned what was my skill set, what was my strength, and what do I love to do. And I realized I started my business. I was actually in 4 different industries and 4 very diverse and different industries. And I could make my mark and, be in senior positions because of a couple of things that I know are my strengths. And one of it is ability to learn, to be able to ask questions, which I've learned so much more from you, Laura. And thirdly is to be humble and just ask and say, help me understand, and be able to then deliver your value, which only you can deliver. So those are the things that saw me through 4 different career changes in 4 vastly different industries, from manufacturing to retail to healthcare to education. And my final stop was in a women and children hospital. Again, blessed with having a woman in the leadership role, heading the hospital. And that was where I spent close to 9 years looking at how can we attract and retain the diverse talent pool that we have. And like you said, I've worked with women from across ages because in a healthcare setting, I have the young ones just graduating out from school and just entering their workplaces. So they are probably in their early 20s. And I have my very experienced and very skilled surgeons, nursing professionals, pharmaceutical, paramedical staff who are maybe in their 70s. And, you get so much wisdom from them because a lot of what they have in knowledge is not taught in school. Again, how do you attract them, to stay in the system and to be able to engage with them? So I've learned a lot in that particular environment and learning what will help them stay. Because many of the women, 85% of my workforce then were women. How can I help across the generation stay and continue to contribute, particularly when they have dependent care issues, whether it's child care or parent care, elderly parent care, or they are just there to want to, they believe that life is more than just work, which I totally subscribe to, and they need to find a way to navigate, to be able to find that fulfillment beyond work. And that's the one place that allowed me to experiment, and with my CEO, we went through a lot of the schemes that is called the work-life options. But what we really wanted to inculcate in the people is that, yes, you are able to navigate your work-life challenges in partnership with your organization, and there are certain things that you as an individual can do something about. And that was something that my boss then asked me in one of my performance review, and she asked me, Cheryl, are you going to be staying in healthcare for the rest of your career? And I saw something unique that she was able to do with this workplace, and I saw so much of the pain and suffering in the corporate arena because of work-life challenges, workload challenges. I took the leap of faith, and I started LifeWorks, and our first focus was really to help organizations become more contemporary, given the diverse generations in the workplace, and the diversity in terms of gender and cultures in the workplace. How can we build a better workplace through the lens of work-life navigation?
So
that's
fascinating.
How I got into all of this.
Cheryl, what was really fascinating is your boss asked you a question that opened the possibility in your own mind that, well, wait, there's something more for me beyond this job. And that's not an easy question for a boss to ask. Do you plan on staying in healthcare? She was in her own way saying there's more for you than here. And then you took that question and actually processed it and went, well, I love this, but yeah, there's more for me. I don't really want to stay here. So LifeWorks came from this whole idea that your boss that you had at the Women and Children's Hospital was such an amazing boss and showed you that there was something possible. And you being you went, how can I make this happen other places? Would that be correct?
Absolutely. And you are, that's why the premise of being asked the right questions and your own ability to ask the right questions is so important. She saw a potential in me that I didn't realize. And now in my role in the 24-hour woman, I can see the potential with the other women that I get to speak with and work with. and see the possibility in their lives. And that's one of the ways that that's many of the conversations that you and I have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, totally. And sometimes I'm like, no, I'm not ready to go there yet, Cheryl. I can't quite figure out how to even process that because I'm so stuck in what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis, even though I know what I really need to do is step out of it for a moment to look at myself and what my own needs are. I mean, I talk about it in my book, that you have to take care of yourself first, but it's so easy for us to take care of our jobs, our families, and that's even our extended families, our friends and everybody before ourselves. And, it eventually gets to the point where you crash and then you can't even take care of them or yourself. And that's where the concepts for your book and the new work that you're doing and the programs got created, right? The 24-Hour Woman got created to help women and men, because the book really does translate to men as well if they're willing to be brave and read it, but to women so that they get that they can navigate it. At one point in time, maybe it's a little more one way than the other, but it always has to come back to the middle. Would that be an accurate summary?
Yes, and I think in our current society, a fair bit of the caregiving is still upon the shoulders of the women, and therefore, very often at the end of the day, they are spent, right? Because they've been giving to others. So one of the things about the 24-Hour Woman is to be very clear: what is your legacy? What matters most to you, and give attention to that first. And that is one of the very clear concept or theme I trust anybody who have read the book would have picked up. That is key, your living legacy, because every single day we are building towards something. The question is, what are you building towards? Right, your time and your effort is going into that. What are you building towards? So the first thing I will always advocate is, what's your living legacy? And if you ask me, Cheryl, I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, go back to instances, the stories in your life that you are happiest about, or things that you do that you're most enthused about, or people who come up to you, what kind of questions do they ask you? What do they say to you? Say, hey, Laura, you're great in doing this. Is that something that you do just naturally because that's something that you are passionate about pursuing? So you don't. It's not a science, but really intuitively you would be moving towards building that legacy. The question now is, are you going to be proactively put those building blocks in, or are you just going to leave it to chance?
Okay.
And at the end of the day, look back and say, I don't know.
So when we go into this commercial break, all you listeners out there, I want you to take a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything that you do that lights you up and start building your living legacy. We'll be right back with Cheryl Liew calling in from Singapore. Here with Cheryl Liew calling in from Singapore, totally exhibiting right at this moment the 24-Hour Woman, since it is 12 hours later for her right now. Cheryl, before the break, you talked about understanding your living legacy and what it is that lights you up, what it is that you want to be doing with your life, knowing that, there's all these other things that come in. Excuse me. But what can somebody do if they're totally in the struggling? Everything is just so difficult. They really can't even focus on themselves. They're just getting through the day. How can they go from struggling to thriving?
Well, the first thing that I would advise and support this person in doing is to break that pattern. Break that pattern and the thought pattern and the physical behavior that they are struggling. Because we need to disrupt that. And then in place of that, put in place what we call the 5 pillars of the 24-Hour Woman. We have a short period of time right now, but I wanted to share just 2 of the 5. First of all, let me name the 5. It's appreciation, awareness, acceptance, accountability, and action.
Okay, say those one more time.
It's appreciation, awareness, acceptance, accountability, and action. And very often we will want to ask people, so tell me what I need to do, and we jump straight to action. I like us to break the pattern with the first A, which is appreciation. Because when we appreciate things around us. We allow ourselves to start from a position of strength. We take note of things that we might have taken for granted. So let me give you an example. If we are able to show appreciation for just the people that comes our way every single day. It might be the receptionist, it might be the cashier, it might be, the person in the subway that you walk past every single day. Showing the appreciation with them gives us a couple of opportunities. One, we form human moments. Human moments that are very important in this day and age, where technology seems to have overtaken us having a decent piece of conversation, and appreciate the people around us. Secondly, when you appreciate things around you, you realize that we actually have more going for us than we think. So somebody was accounting for me this particular story, and she was upset and grumbling that her husband is always not helping her in the household, and that she's doing everything herself. And then one of her girlfriends turned around and looked at her and says, "Hey, at least your husband is at home, and he is not out drinking out somewhere." The second thing is, at least you are doing you're doing housework. That means at least you have a home to go back to, right? And the third thing says, I know ironing clothes can be a chore, but hey, at least we have clothes on our backs. That totally changed this woman's perspective of the so-called labor that she was in, and turned it into something that she says, I am better off than some of the other people that are around in this world. I have something that's working for me, and therefore I'm going to be springing board from there. So if we were just to take time to appreciate the people, the things, and the situations we are in, we are almost always able to find gems of strength that we can springboard from. And I highly encourage us to start doing that on a daily basis. And then as you accumulate that, you realize that you're building a mountain of value, of strength. The other
before we go on to the next one, I want to talk about this appreciation a little bit more, Cheryl, because everybody talks about you have to have a gratitude journal and all that. But what I get is that appreciation as part of the 5 pillars of the 24-hour woman is different than a gratitude kind of thing. That you can appreciate something, and in your own way you're grateful for it, but it's okay if you're not totally happy about it when you're appreciating it. You're just like, okay, I have a home. Other people don't. Got it. Okay, this is good. But it may not be the right thing, and that's where the other pillars come in. Like, you don't have to be appreciating it and saying, this is how I always want it to be, that my husband doesn't help around the house. But appreciate for the moment you have it, which is very different, I think, from a gratitude journal, where you're sort of writing it down and you're like, oh, I'm happy about this, right? It's just in the moment, okay, it's not as bad as I think it is, kind of thing. Is that correct or no?
That's right. I'm using appreciation, if you like, as a fuel for you to burn and springboard from. Just to note that you are not starting from ground zero, nor are you, in the negative. There are some things working for you. Doesn't mean that you're just contented where it is.
Okay.
Right? Because your legacy might be leading you towards something that is a lot more than what you see right now.
Great.
But appreciation allows us to springboard.
Okay, so then pillar 2 is awareness.
Yes. Pillar 2 is awareness, and it follows very closely to appreciation because and as I observe the world around us, and as I work with the women from around the world, some things are almost universal throughout. We get up in the morning. We either we are on time. We are running late. The kids have to go to school. We run to the subway. We get on the subway. We might even be doing our makeup on the subway, and then we just let the routine. We just let the day-to-day take place without us pausing and being aware of what's happening around us. And I think that's important because that helps us set context of where we are and context of what's the opportunity around us that could bring us to where we want to be, or what could be the possibilities. So being aware allows us to have that wide, ability to see possible connections, or again back to ourselves or who we are, or connections to the possibilities that's in building our legacy that's out there. Rather than just running around with blinkers, we need to open up and see what's happening around us to be able to see opportunities and to be able to connect back with ourselves.
That's one that other guests and I have talked about on the show, is this whole awareness idea, that if you can become aware of what you're actually doing and what you're actually thinking, that's the catalyst for beginning to make a change. But your perspective is slightly different in that it's awareness also trying to hold in alignment with your legacy of who you want to be and what you want to be doing with the world. Does that
absolutely?
Okay.
Yes, it's. I want us to take a little bit more time to be aware of who we are on a daily basis and what's important for us, because many times the agenda overtakes us and our lives are run by the agenda. I'd like us to take a little bit more time in observing who we are, who do we want to be, and therefore there's a greater alignment towards our legacy and alignment towards within us based on our values and beliefs.
That's so perfect. And for those who are listening, I'm going to get Cheryl to talk about a third pillar when we come back from the commercial break, because this one I think is so important, and I really want Cheryl to share about acceptance, because it's not what you think it is. So Cheryl, after the break, would you be willing to share a third pillar with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then we're also going to talk about how you can enjoy sustained success in your personal and professional life, and how you can begin building support bases in order to enable you to reach your own personal goals in a more 24-hour woman way. We'll be right back after this commercial break, and it's a news break as well. So start writing down what you are appreciating today and what awarenesses you have. And when we come back from the break, we'll be here with Cheryl Chng talking about the 24-hour woman. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here asking questions of Cheryl Chng, international best-selling author and founder of LifeWorks, and she is in Singapore. So we are talking live to Singapore to a true 24-hour woman, since it is much, much later for her today, and she's already gotten her family to bed and all that other wonderful stuff. Cheryl, before the break, we talked about 2 of the 5 pillars of the 24-hour woman, first being appreciation, second being awareness. And you agreed to share with us, because we have very limited time today, everyone, so I would love her to share all 5 pillars, but I want you to get an idea of the work and how you can apply it to your life. Cheryl, the third pillar is acceptance, and I know this one was a huge one for me, but your pillar of acceptance is not what we think it is. Can you define and tell us about acceptance?
Sure. In most instances, acceptance would mean just take whatever happened and sort of feel that it's okay with it. Pardon me. But for me, I'm talking about acceptance from the sense of let's take a more rational view. Yes, it happened. Whatever that happened, just acknowledge it as a situation if you can, and then therefore it's without denial nor accusing anybody, including yourself, for whatever that has happened. More importantly is you realize that it's happened, you accept that it's happened, and you decide it's moving on. So rather than staying at that point in time that, something that happened 10 years ago, and you keep reliving that 10 years, which means now 20 years down the road, you are still living in the situation that you're stuck in 10 years ago. Your life is so much more valuable that you just move on from what had happened 10 years ago. I'm not saying that, you don't deny it, nor would you take the blame or accept that it's, or just accept it and say, yeah, that's the best that there is. Accept it as a situation. and moved on. Move on towards your hopes and your dreams. Move on towards your living legacy. Move on towards that which matters most to you, so that you are not stuck in what was in the past, whether it's glory or pain, because you definitely have a better future.
Now, you did, I think it was a year or so ago now. I mean, time passes so quickly in the 24-hour woman life. You had a free course that you did where you had little videos that different people had done on each of these pillars. And I think it was JJ Virgin who talked about acceptance.
Yes. So a year ago, we put forth, the 24-hour woman put forth a 24-hour woman 7-day challenge to the community. And in that 7 days, we basically got together and for us to practice the 5 pillars of the 24-hour woman. And for each of these pillars, I had one of my special guests to share how they lived through and demonstrated that pillar. And JJ was kind enough to share with us her story where her son was hit by a hit and run incident, and she had to deal with him being in that situation just at the age of her launching her bestseller book. And, so what could she do? She said, she accepted it happened, did that which is necessary, focused on her getting her son well, but at the same time, she knew that she can't stay in that situation and mull over it. She had to launch her book. She had to launch that which is part of her business. And she took it. I mean, of course, it's very emotional for her at that time, but she was also able to say, I need to move on, for not just for my son's sake, but for my sake, for the business sake. Everybody has to move on from that particular situation, although it was, a situation where we all wish had never happened.
Yeah, and JJ Virgin, for those of you who don't know her, she wrote the Virgin Diet and the Sugar Impact Diet and different cookbooks for it. She's, internationally around, multiple New York Times bestselling author, just an incredible woman, and I'm so grateful that I know her personally, and Cheryl, I know you know her personally as well. Her son was basically almost dead, and multiple doctors said he would never live. And this is one of the biggest traumas for any mother, I would think, in the world. My brother died when I was 10, and I know what it did to my mom. She had gotten him stable and everything, but she had this publishing deal going. The marketing machine was going. All these TV appearances were supposed to happen. If she couldn't have gone into some form of acceptance of, okay, this is the situation with my son and the hospital. Here's where we're actually at. Here's the situation with my business. If I don't have my business going, I won't be able to pay all these hospital bills, which were only imagine when you have life fights from one state to another, what all of those costs are. So acceptance is not forgiving. It's acknowledging, right? It's acknowledging that this is a situation. What can I do about this now? And what can I do about that? And then stepping forward.
Yes, absolutely. It can be a very emotional situation, but acknowledging it puts it in its place, and that you can take the next steps.
Okay, so that leads to my next question. With the 24-hour woman and things that we're talking about where we need to balance family, we need to navigate our personal with our work life and all of that, what can someone do to enjoy sustained success in their personal and professional life?
As I work with women from around the world, and in my book, there are 2 key pieces that always comes to mind, and it's sort of like you've got to build this on a parallel. The first is coming back to finding alignment within yourself, in your legacy, your values, and what you believe in, because only then it is sustainable, because otherwise you're wearing a mask, right? I've seen many women, they wear their armor to work, and then when they get home, they take off the armor, they're totally different people. Well, that's not sustainable, because the true you can't show up. But if you're living in alignment in your legacy, based on your values and based on what matters most to you, that's most sustainable, because the true you is showing up all the time. The second piece is, in order for you to show up all the time, you need to begin to build your own support bases. And you need to build them before you need them. And if you're looking at it, there are two key pieces. Of course, that first is our personal lives, and then the other would be in our professional life. So starting off with our personal life, the people that are closest to us, our inner circle, whether it's your spouse, it's your partner, you need to bring them in alignment with your legacy, to bring them in to be your cheerleaders, to watch your back as you move on to build your legacy on a daily basis. Your family members, all right? For those of us who are, just nuclear family, then your neighbors, they are your closest community if you look at that. And then your growth friends. And I mentioned specifically growth friends because you can have many friends. And now in the social media platform, you can have thousands of friends, but if you can have 5 growth friends, people that you can call on, people who would support you, people who will grow with you, people who understand you, those are the people that you need to build on your personal front. Your spouse, your partner, your family members, your neighbors, your growth friends. Those are the key people that you need to spend time with to talk about your vision, talk about what you want to get out of life, talk about some of your challenges, and list them into supporting you. So that when the day comes that, for example, you need to do a travel and it's unplanned for, or you need somebody to care for the kids, or things like that, somebody will stand up to the plate and help you out with that.
Now that doesn't mean just complaining all the time. I can't tell you how many friends I have, and I've caught myself a few times too, where you're just venting to the people that are your support group. Yet that's not what you're talking about doing.
No. We are talking about people who are able to give you and people that you need to be supported a regular day and not something that is like exceptional. Or we just need somebody who can come and make sure that what needs to happen on a routine basis happens. There's no upheaval, right? So if I need some caregiving for my kids, I know I can call my sister, and she will come and take them out, and she will keep them to their routines, right? So it's not Auntie is here, and therefore we are going to Disneyland. No way. But it helps you so that your mind is focused on doing whatever you need to do while knowing that I know that my kids are taken care of and they will not be spoiled or pampered. They'll be just taken care of in their usual routine. It's not about complaining. It's about how you are sharing what you want to be achieving and that they're excited with you to help you achieve that, and they don't mind stepping in to help you when you need.
I think that's so important. I know that I myself in the last 2 years have not been real good about that. And because of it, I haven't moved forward with as many things as I'd like to do. I've put aside a lot of my own stuff for that. And it's only been within the last, I guess, since my divorce, where I really had to start saying, I need time for me. And it doesn't necessarily matter that my mom doesn't want anybody else but me. It's not really fair that she feels that way, and her mind doesn't always allow her to understand it. So we have to understand ourselves first, which is where your legacy talking about comes in first, if you know where you want, right? Yeah.
So, many people may say, oh, well, that's so selfish, you're just thinking about yourself. Well, I would like to propose and suggest that if you give yourself the time to feel yourself so that you are full, you're refilled, you're refreshed, you're vibrant, you're energetic, and you're happy and fulfilled, how much more of a powerful force you can be to the people around you in a positive manner, whether it's your family or your workplace or in your community, that you will be a positive force for people around you rather than you will end up being burnt out and being frustrated and then being angry with everyone else around you.
That is the perfect way to go into this next break. So everybody think about that as you go into the break. If you fill yourself first, how much more can you be? We'll be right back. Hey, okay, so Cheryl, I loved how we went into the commercial break about filling yourself first, and that it's not selfish to do it, and how it can change your response to the world and actually help you stop being angry or lashing out or whatever. So you had some other things you wanted to talk about around that.
Yes, I think the other major piece, because a fair bit of, we are professional working women or we are entrepreneurs, we need to build our support on the professional front too. Several roles that you need to be looking out for people within or outside your industry, but there are a couple that had played a major piece in my life. Obviously, one of the major ones is your boss. I had wonderful experiences with all my supervisors, my bosses, and you need to know how you work, and therefore, find a boss that will actually allows you to bring your strength to work, right? So that's a major piece, so that you can truly shine and be the best in what you want to be doing, so that you can also be known in the field that you are in. So one, your supervisor is important. Build a rapport and find ways that you can actually leverage on your strength. The second person that you need in your as your support for your professional life is having a mentor. And you don't have, the things that you learn from a mentor doesn't have to be just in one person. It can be in a group of people, and that's why we have a board. That's why we have boards, directors, and we had a council of advisors kind of position. For yourself too, look for mentors that you want to learn from in maybe different industries or things that they have that you want to be able to bounce ideas with. My boss back in the healthcare sector till this day is still one of my mentors. We still meet on a quarterly basis, and I still value her input so much because she's able to see a much, much bigger picture than I could. So you need to, and do not be afraid, and say, who am I that they will want to be my mentor? But really be able to open up and say, I really love to learn from you. This is where I am right now. And I know that as as we communicate, I will be able to find ways that I can value add to you too. And many of the mentors are just waiting to be asked. Unfortunately, not many people ask them. And when do not waste their time. Use their time well, but ask the mentor that you have spotted. Third, build your team. Now, even if you say, no, but I'm just one of the contributors, you do work with people around you. You don't work alone. Even if you are telecommuting or you are a remote worker, you do work in the context of a team. And therefore, it is essential that you build rapport, you build understanding with your team. So that when you need to call upon them to say, hey, I need to work a little bit differently for the next couple of weeks, for whatever reason, they know and they trust you. They know that you will continue to contribute, that you are not skiving, and that they will support you in whatever transition. 24-hour woman, anything can happen in the home front, on a professional front, on your own personal life. So build this support before you even need to call upon that. For the rest of the support in your professional life, I've detailed this a lot in the book, The 24-Hour Woman. We also deal with some of these as we have our online or live events. So find out more there. I don't want to be taking time just to be sharing on the rest of the support system that you need. But you need to get into it before you need them.
And there's so much more, and the book is such a great resource. So tell us again how everybody can find out about you and get the book and the website, and you have a free gift for everybody as well that's listening.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you can meet me at the24hourwoman.com. That's our website. And
wait 1 second. It's the 24-Hour Woman, THE24, the word hour, HOUR, woman.com, correct?
That's right,
okay.
Yes. And a gift to all our listeners. It's available for you to download at the bit.ly link, 24HW free course 1.
Okay, and that's www.bit.ly/24, the number, HW free course 1. Okay? And what is the free gift?
And yeah, that's a free course from me, walking through you 10 practices that will build strong principles for, foundation for you as a 24-hour woman.
And you're doing something completely cool. I don't know where the listeners are that are listening today. I know they're across the U.S. There are a bunch in Singapore, all over Europe. I love my international listeners. But you're doing a live event with this in Singapore coming up, aren't you? I love that. I wish I was going to be in Singapore.
Yeah, the 24-hour woman has a lot of events happening, whether live or virtual. So check out the 24hourwoman.com for more information, usually on our blog post. We have live events, online events, webinars, and lots of things happening at different parts of the world at different times. The main thing is the 24-hour woman exists all around the world. So let's get into inspiring and empowering one another to thrive in whatever we are doing in our professional and our personal life.
So what's the one thought you'd like to leave all of the listeners with today?
I would say that we all have 24 hours, in a day. So invest in what matters most to you.
Oh, I love that one. Invest in what matters most to you. And for some of you listeners out there, that might not be so easy to figure out what matters most to you. But if you apply what Cheryl has talked about today, I think it'll really help you to begin understanding what matters most to you. And if you need to replay this, it should be up on iTunes later today or up on Stitcher so you can catch the replay. We are still trending on New and Noteworthy, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making that happen. Please share these broadcasts with your friends. Tell everybody about the shows and, check out all the resources that our amazing guests have been sharing with you. Cheryl, it has been such an honor to have you here. I appreciate your staying up really late to be with us. And
a pleasure.
I know your boys are probably going to want to know tomorrow when they first wake up, Mommy, how did it go?
Yes, they would.
And, for the listeners, understand that where you think your support comes from may not be really where it comes from. And that's where appreciation, awareness, acceptance, and the other two of the 5 pillars of the 24-hour woman, accountability and action, really come into play so you can begin to understand how you can be supported and be a 24-hour woman, but one that is going through life feeling fulfilled, feeling happy, and as Cheryl, my favorite phrase that you always say, living a life most excellent. Did I get that right?
That's right.
Live your life most excellent. Thank you to my guest, Cheryl Chng, calling in from Singapore, the 24-hour woman. You can get her book wherever books are sold. It is an international best-selling book, The 24-Hour Woman. And join me next week, same time, same channel, and catch the replays on iTunes and Stitcher, where thanks to you, we are trending on New and Noteworthy. We've got lots of shows up there with exceptional guests, and next week we have a guest calling in from Canada, Fiona Fine, and I can't wait to share her ideas with you. But remember, most of all, everyone, if you want to move forward with your life, it really is all about the questions, and you can download some free resources at it'sallaboutthequestions.com. And I have sample chapters of my book, What Would a Wise Woman Do? And also exercises that can help you ask better questions. And Cheryl has great resources for you as well. So remember, the right questions can change your life. So what are you asking today?
Connect with Laura at it'sallaboutthequestions.com and download a free workbook that will help you ask better questions starting today.